Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on The Flash, Season 5. So a few months back, around that time, 2 to 3 months back, we had a set of details coming from set around information for the upcoming 8th episode for this season of The Flash, which would also serve as a mid-season finale for the season, but also be the 100th episode for the show. So for those that don't know, a TV show, especially one that goes for an hour each week, to reach 100 episodes is a pretty big milestone, as a lot of shows unfortunately do not get to reach that amount. So we all knew what Arrow did in their 100th episode, as it was part of the Invasion crossover, 2 years ago? But they were sort of assisted by the crossover setting, as it allowed them to do something a bit more out there and very un-Arrow, if that makes sense, by allowing the characters to enter an alternate reality of sorts and bring back dead characters from the past. But with The Flash, we were all hoping that the 100th episode would not be a part of the crossover, as unlike Arrow, it would most likely hinder the milestone episodes, and thankfully for this season that's what we've got, because the crossover episode is in episode 9. Now, in these details that were coming from set, we had a few different information drops, some of which have already come true. But one that had many people excited was the possibility of Zoom, as well as some other speedsters, returning for this episode. And, well, that's happening. So a Comic-Con is going on in London at the moment. God knows what it's called. Off the top of my head, I can't even remember. But DC World was able to ask Tony Todd, who voices Zoom, and was at the convention, as to whether he would be returning to voice Zoom for the 100th episode, and he just straight up said yes, he would be returning. And that isn't all that he said. He went on to say that other speedsters would also be returning and, to quote, wanting a piece of Barry. So, wow, what the hell? Now, I'm not overly surprised that Zoom is returning. I don't think many of you would be surprised either. I mean, it would feel weird to have a 100th episode and not have returning villains and various other stuff like that. It would be more surprising if they didn't show up. The thing that I am super duper surprised by is the fact that Tony Todd just straight up went, "Oh yeah, mate, I'm back. And so are all these other speedsters, and we want a piece of Barry." I'm shocked that he just straight up told people that, because the filming for the 100th episode was really blocked off. Only a few scenes was spotted filming, and from memory, they were all of Nora and Barry. And even I don't think they were seen filming. They were just seen on set, and no one actually caught them filming. It was all behind closed curtains and doors and stuff like that. I don't think any other scenes or any other settings for that episode were seen with any of the other characters on the show. They were there for filming, but they just weren't seen. And it's not like Tony Todd would have been spotted in Vancouver filming either, so people could confirm that Zoom's coming back, as he is just the voice of Zoom. So he would record all of his lines back in Los Angeles, which is where they do it. So even though we would sort of be expecting Zoom back, it was nowhere near confirmed that he would be back. The other thing that Tony said, apart from the fact that he is, coming back as the voice of Zoom for that 100th episode, is that other speedsters would be returning. Now, the obvious ones to return are obviously, Zoom, Savitar, and Reverse Flash. So I guess that would mean that Tobin Bell would be coming back to voice Savitar. But it would be interesting to see if any of the other speedsters in the show appear again, both good and evil, to maybe deal with Barry. Who knows necessarily what is going on there with all these characters and why Barry is being targeted now, as it is important to remember that Savitar is dead and Zoom is literally death, as he became the Black Flash. So it will be interesting to see how all of that is explained and how they come back into it and factor into it. My guess is that it would all be within the Speed Force, where, all their spiritual entities would lie, or something along those lines. But characters like Jesse Quick, Wally West, and even Jay Garrick, I don't think they were around Vancouver around the time of filming for this episode. Maybe Jay Garrick could show up, but I would count out Jesse and Wally. So it would be hard to believe that those two would show up again. However, maybe a character like Rival or Trajectory could make an appearance, maybe. But I think the main ones people would want to see are those of Savitar, Zoom, and Reverse Flash, as they were big bads and we spent a lot of time with them. In regards to how long they will be in the episode, some people might be thinking, oh, they're going to be in there the whole episode. Honestly, I would not be surprised if they're only in there for maybe 5, 10, 15 minutes at most, just due to the fact that I don't think the episode will revolve around them. They might be a part of the story that the episode revolves around, but the episode won't be oh, okay, we're setting the episode around Savitar, Zoom, Reverse Flash. That won't be the case. It's going to be set around something else, and those three characters will just factor into it, or at least these speedsters along with Zoom will just factor into it. So yeah, they could be in there for the whole episode, but just an honest prediction, I would say 15 minutes max, but around like between 5 and 10 minutes would be my prediction. Just like we've seen with other episodes where returning characters come back. They're not in there for the whole episode, they're just there for, a quarter of the episode or so. But seeing that the 100th episode will be the mid-season finale for The Flash this season, you would expect a cliffhanger, right? Well, that does seem like what we are going to get, even with the crossover episode the week after. Now, Todd Helbing, the showrunner for The Flash, did say like a month or so back that there would be a big twist in the episode that will carry over to the mid-season premiere in January. Now, this big twist could be connected to the return of these speedsters. Obviously, Cicada is the villain at the moment, but as we have heard in episode 3, he is sort of on like a clock at the moment due to that injury of his. And it does seem that we are moving through his story fairly quickly based off the first 3 episodes. So it does seem more and more likely as we move through the opening of this season that Cicada will only be the villain for the first half of the season. But he could get past the mid-season point and continue on to the back half if things do line up well for him. But that is really for us to wait and find out. It is hard to tell at the moment as they could take a step back on Cicada's story in the next few episodes. Like in episodes 4, 5, 6, we only might get a bit of him. And then episode 7 or something could be, a big focus on him or something, and then that allows us to have a break from him in episode 8 and 9 as I deal with, the 100th episode and the crossover story as well. But speaking of episode 7, obviously that being the episode before the mid-season finale and the 100th episode, that is apparently entitled, "O Come All Ye Thankful." That obviously being a play on the Christmas carol or hymn of "O Come All Ye Faithful." Now, due to that episode title, you would think that episode 7 would be that Christmas type of episode they do every season. But then you have to think to yourself, like, hang on. The Flash currently, due to the fact that it picked up straight after season 4 ended, would still be in like late May or early June in their timeline. So over 6 months away from Christmas. So this would mean that we are going to be getting a big time jump in the coming episodes. And, that is one possibility. However, the episode title could be a reference to something that Cicada is doing, as the hymn of "O Come All Ye Faithful" was originally thought to be like connected to and like be used as a rallying cry of sorts. So episode 7 could involve Cicada recruiting people against metahumans for some, illustrious plan of his. Possibly attempting to form his cult of Cicada from the comics, something along those lines. Because I think if Cicada is going to, go away before the mid-season finale, it would be in episode 7. This could be like the big final clash between Flash and Cicada. But if he is going to continue into the back half, this could be an episode where he gets more powerful and it sets up some stuff for the back half with him. But if episode 7 does end up being the end of Cicada, that is where he is either defeated by the Flash or Team Flash, or he just dies from that injury of his that we saw in episode 3, then that twist that Todd Helbing describes could be the thing that introduces the villain for the rest of the season. And due to what we know about the 100th episode and the returning speedsters, is it too ludicrous to think that we will just be getting someone like Reverse Flash come back as the villain for the rest of the season? I mean, we are dealing with future stuff with Nora. Obviously, there was that cliffhanger at the end of episode 3, which I might do a video on tomorrow in regards to someone helping her from the future. So it would be fitting. But I think there is some divisiveness around like fans of the show around the manner in which he comes back and how he is actually used on the show. For me, if he gets, episodes 10 through to 22 to have like a good story arc, be, muddled in with everything and be connected to multiple people, then I am fine with him coming back because really that would be more than what we had with him in season 1 if you think about it. In season 1, we were with Wells most of the time, but Reverse Flash was really only relevant and in your face for a handful of episodes. But let me know what you think about that. Do you want Reverse Flash in the back half of the season or do you want someone else? If so, who else do you want? Like, who else do you think Nora could be connected to that could be coming back as a villain? I know a lot of people think that maybe Nora's twin is evil. I don't think I'd really like that. I think it's a bit lame, but I don't know. If you like that, then let me know. But to finish off this video, I thought we would go over the synopsis for episode 5 for this season, which is otherwise entitled All Dolled Up, and I thought we'd go over it because I'm not going to go over it in another video separately. And it is important to note that The Flash will be taking a 1-week break after this week's episode due to the US election on November 6th. So no Flash that week, but when it returns this following week, Arrow, Supergirl, and Flash will all be on episode 5, which is of course good for lining up for like crossover time. But yeah, here is that synopsis for episode 5. Nora lets something slip about the future that devastates Iris. In an attempt to distract his wife, Barry asks Iris to team up to stop a new meta, Ragdoll. Meanwhile, Caitlin learns something about her father. So this episode would have made like a good Halloween episode due to the villain for the episode, that being Ragdoll. But it will be 2 weeks later, so F's in the chat for that prospect. It looks like we will get like the follow-on in this episode between Nora and Iris from episode 4, where based off the trailer for that episode, it does look like Nora is going to reveal to Iris what she does in the future that has caused a bit of a divide between Nora and Iris so far this season. The one thing that this synopsis and some interviews with Candice Patton in recent months has suggested is that Iris's journalism arc for this season might not be as big as first expected. Now, granted, Candice would only know stuff from the first half in regards to like detailed stuff. I think she may have said that herself in an interview. But the way she talked about episodes from the first half of the season, it sounded like she was almost disappointed in what her character was doing and that it was just the same old stuff from last season. When really, it was almost like she would have been promised that, yo, you're going to be doing some interesting stuff this season. So let's hope that the back half of this season opens up for Iris in regards to that storyline. In regards to Caitlin, this is the episode before her father makes his grand icy entrance, is that the best word to use, and become a focus in episode 6. So it will be interesting to see what is revealed in this episode and how their paths end up crossing. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various thoughts on the stuff we went over in this episode. You're looking forward to Zoom? How do you think they're going to handle like the villain going into the back half of this season? Just let me know all of those opinions in the comment section down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I'll catch you later, guys. Goodbye.